Congressman David Cicilline helped launch the Better Deal message. He represents the proud state of Rhode Island and joins us tonight. Congressman, thanks a lot for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
So I think this is the obvious message that Democrats should have run on in November. The middle class is dying. Someone needs to represent them. Democrats took a pass, ran on identity politics and frivolous, stupid issues. And Trump filled the void. But you can't convince me that your voters care about this stuff, because if they did, they would have demanded you talk about it last election.
This agenda, which we announced today, which is an agenda both from the House and the Senate, came about as a result of doing a lot of listening to our members who are home every weekend, listening to their constituents, and really understand that it's important that voters and the American people hear what Democrats are committed to do to raise people's wages, to create good-paying jobs so that people have a bright future. And so this Better Deal is really about how do we increase people's incomes, how do we reduce the cost of people's expenses in health care, in child care, in the things that people spend money on. And this is a very bold agenda that will do that. And I think you're going to hear Democrats continue to talk about it. It's our #1 priority to do all that we can to improve the lives of working people. We're obviously in the minority, so whether we can move this stuff or not, but I think it's important for the American people to say, if you elect Democrats, if you give us the responsibility of leadership, we will focus on raising incomes, rebuilding the middle class, reducing the costs in people's lives.
I get it. I mean, by the way,
and you said it was not crazy, so that's almost an endorsement.
Not only is it not crazy, that's the message.
That's right. But it's not just a message. No. I want to be careful. Okay. This is about our agenda.
Those are the plans. Right. Look, I'm not belittling it at all. No. I agree with it.
Right.
Trump just ran on it and won.
Well, the
that's
difference is we're actually going to do it.
Okay, but
the president isn't doing it.
That's the point. And, I guess if I was rooting for Democrats, I would hope that you would. I don't think you will for a couple of reasons, but the obvious question is, why didn't you run on that in the last election, and why haven't you been talking about it even today? I haven't heard a single Democrat other than you and Schumer and Pelosi.
No, you heard there were a lot of Democrats. Jim Himes talked about it this morning. Barbara Lee talked about it.
Why haven't they been talking about it?
I think Democrats are talking about it. The point of putting together this Democratic agenda was so that we can more effectively make our case to the American people of what we stand for, what we're fighting for. You're going to hear a lot more about this as we roll out different parts of this agenda, but I think Democrats have been talking about what we can do to raise folks' income, to rebuild the middle class of our country, to deal with the escalating costs of prescription drugs.
Well, let me ask you an obvious question.
And by the way, we obviously didn't do it effectively because we lost the election.
I don't think you did it at all, and I always wondered why, because it's such an obvious message. But hold on, how can you argue that economic case and argue for basically unrestrained low-wage immigration, which is your position?
No, we don't. First of all, that is not my position, #1. #2, what we're talking about here is raising people's incomes, reducing the cost of people's expenses, creating good pathways for careers and job training.
And it's really simple. High levels of low-wage immigration depress wages.
Democrats have always supported
we know that.
Comprehensive immigration reform that will fix our broken immigration system.
Why would you want millions of people here competing with low-wage American workers?
Millions of people are here, and the question is, what do we do about that?
Is that good for American wages?
Immigrants add tremendously to the economy of our country. Of course it is.
Do the 10 million illegal immigrants here help raise American wages?
The 10 million people who are here need a pathway to citizenship. We need
so now I know which is more important. No, it was just a simple question. Are the rights of illegals in America more important, or is raising
We want an economy that works for
important?
every hardworking American, that raises people's income, that will reduce the costs in their lives, and that will give them the skills and apprenticeships.
We all want that.
And by the way, we also want comprehensive immigration reform. There's a bipartisan bill supported by Republicans and Democrats.
Yeah, Republicans who don't care about middle-class wages.
No, that's not true. These are Republicans.
Okay, then
Democrats
just stop. Can we just get back to reality really quickly and away from the talking points? Will you concede that decades of social science have shown conclusively that if you flood a labor market with low-wage workers, wages go down?
No, I don't. Absolutely
you don't
not
believe
accept
supply
that.
And demand.
I do not accept the fact that immigrants who have come to this country for the same reason my great-grandfather came, to build a better life for their families, are a drain on society. In fact, they contribute enormously
so now we're
to the economy of our country.
Faith-based economics.
No,
and so good luck with your plan. You're not being real.
Immigration reform has to happen. It should be done in a bipartisan way. It should be comprehensive. There's a piece of legislation that will do it. That's how we should approach it.
But you're not taking wages seriously. I just want to know if you are.
We are taking wages seriously.
Obviously you're not. Congressman, here's a question for you. Minority Leader Chuck Schumer says that it's time for Hillary Clinton to stop blaming her loss on sinister Russian forces. In an interview with the Washington Post, here's what Schumer said, quote, "When you lose to somebody who's got 40% popularity, you don't blame other things, Comey, Russia, you blame yourself. What did we do wrong? People didn't know what we stood for, just that we were against Trump, and they still believe that.
I think it is absolutely essential that Democrats make it very clear what we stand for, what we are willing to fight for, and what we will achieve, what we'll accomplish on behalf of working families if we are given the responsibilities of leadership. I think that's what this agenda does.
Which working families from this country or people here illegally?
Working families in America, where we will raise people's wages,
citizens?
invest in... Well, people who live in America.
So really quick.
Everybody's
Is it more important to look after American citizens or people here who are not citizens?
We should absolutely have policies which support American citizens. We should have comprehensive immigration
But if it comes down to which is more important?
You don't have to pick.
Yes,
we're an integrated economy. You can't say, well, sell you this good, but we won't sell it to you based on...
No, because we let in 1.2 million new people every year.
And we should fix our broken immigration system by having comprehensive immigration reform,
you got to think
which
this talking
Republicans
point through a little
and
bit.
Democrats support, but we can't get a vote on it.
I think you need to think this through just a tiny bit more.
So do you. You need to think of the value and the contribution that immigrants make.
Congressman, thank you.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.